councilmen and women. Thank you for this opportunity before guests and viewers to recognize Chief Terrence Green and the Police Department of the town of Lexington with a resolution passed by the South Carolina House of Representatives on May the 3rd, but framed after sine die. So, yes, my name is Paula Calhoun, and as a member of the South Carolina General Assembly, I serve a portion of Lexington County, District 87. I am delighted to share this occasion with you. Joining me at the podium for this presentation are Chief Terrence Green. Let's bring Matt Timmerman up, and Inspector Missy Silcox. And J.J. Jones is the Executive Director of the South Carolina Law Enforcement Officers Association. I'm going to ask him to join me to hold the resolution. Chris Wooten was supposed to be here, but obviously I don't think he's arrived yet.
Okay.
So if you will hold this for me while we make some remarks. And Sheriff Coon spoke with him, and he had a conflict tonight, or otherwise he would be here too. So the resolution addresses law enforcement leadership in our community by Chief Green for receiving agency accreditation with the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, and it's called C.A.L.E.A. And he has done this 5 consecutive times. It is important to state that in prior years, C.A.L.E.A. was obtained every 3 years. Today, it's acquired every 4 years. C.A.L.E.A. is the gold standard in public safety, with a review of policies and practices against internationally accepted public safety standards. C.A.L.E.A. accreditation embodies the precepts of community-oriented policing, whereby law enforcement agencies and citizens work together to prevent and control challenges confronting law enforcement. On April the 2nd of 2022, the Lexington Police Department received not a basic accreditation, but an advanced law enforcement accreditation award, which requires meeting a higher standard of excellence. To receive this advanced award signifies the agency's ongoing commitment to attaining the highest level of professionalism through determination and gritty hard work. Under the leadership of Chief Green, the Lexington Police Department has consistently met the high standard of excellence for accreditation in leadership, through transparency, in sound training, defined lines of authority, resource management, and service delivery in community-focused public safety. Please join me in recognizing Chief Green of the town of Lexington and the department for receiving C.A.L.E.A. Advanced Law Enforcement accreditation for the 5th time, and for Chief Green's dedicated service to the people of our community and the state of South Carolina. Chief Green, will you step forward, please?
I'm going to have them step forward. They're the one that did the work.
The Silcox and yeah.
Just very quickly, I'd kind of like to give you a brief description of how we look at our awards and how we go about our selection process. Each year we have a individual and separate committee that looks over our awarding process and all of our applications. These applications are submitted by their departments, and they stand out as impressive for each department and for the state itself. That committee is completely set aside from us, so they have a perspective that is a little bit different. I would like to tell you, or like to read some of what Officer Ludwig, his department sent for him. Last year, in 2021, the Lexington Police Department had an 88% increase in their DUI arrests. That number went from 109 in 2020 to 205 in 2021. Officer Ludwig had 63 DUI arrests, the highest for their agency at that time. That is impressive, not just for the agency themselves, but for Officer Ludwig's dedication to the process for DUI enforcement and keeping our roads safe. His department sent in quite a impressive list of information, and I don't want to take all of your time reading it, but of that is something that we would like to make note of. And if it's okay, I would like to read our award to him.
Absolutely, please.
The South Carolina Department of Public Safety presents the Officer of the Year Award to Patrolman First Class Shawn Ludwig of the Lexington Police Department for excelling in the area of DUI arrests, DUI victim services, and the anti-underage drinking programs in South Carolina during the 2021 year. This is presented in 2022.
Fantastic.
I also have my director, Director Phil Riley for the Office of Highway Safety and Justice Programs with us, and I would like to offer him the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll be brief. I work in Blythewood, but I live in Lexington, so this is near and dear to my heart. I can tell you that it's not easy to win Officer of the Year. And I know you all are concerned about keeping your community safe, and I appreciate those efforts. But I tell you, a big part of that is traffic safety. And when it comes to fatalities, this is hot off the press, but the latest statistic is 48% of our state's fatalities involve either somebody under the influence of alcohol or the involvement of drugs, whether legal or prescription. So it's not safe out there, but luckily you have officers like Ludwig and his efforts and those like him, and he is keeping, and they are keeping our community safer by their presence. And I tell you, that title he carries behind his name, TSI, Traffic Safety Instructor, that is quite an accomplishment that he's achieved. He's probably one of the most well-trained officers in the state. No kidding. So just want to come here and recognize him and the police department for what they do. We appreciate their efforts and want to recognize him for his accomplishment and just say thank you all. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you doing that.
Thank you,
Shawn,
sir.
come on, step forward. We want to hear from you. This cannot go unnoticed. You got to talk a little bit. Shawn.
I'm not a good public speaker, but I want to appreciate and thank my department for the allowing us to, with the efforts in DUI enforcement, to include these gentlemen back behind me for acknowledging things like this and how important it is, especially for the state, not only for the town of Lexington. And especially want to thank my wife for all the crazy hours that I had to work as a result and overtime. So she had to put up with a lot, but I appreciate everything y'all do as well and the support of the police department. And I know the chief always preaches on it. So thank you, Chief, and my supervisor directly, Grady Johnson. So
Fantastic work, Shawn. Thank you.
thank you.